Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this presentation of the CBL on the Coliseum Sports Network. We are halfway through week 4, and we're coming to you from the Sprint Center in Kansas City for today's matchup between the Alaska Glacier Bears and the Kansas City Monks. I'm Raymond Sims, glad that you could join us here. The first week of interconference play. We just had two great games transpire on Thursday and Friday. Vegas getting the win over Lehigh Valley, and then London getting their first win of the season over Mexico City. So now here's Alaska trying to get back to 500. They come in with a 1-2 record. Kansas City trying to tie themselves up in the Eastern Conference with Lehigh Valley at 3-1. At 3-1, they come into the game 2-1. So here's Rudy Gobert and Samuel Dalembert. And they tip it off, and we're underway from Kansas City. Should be a good one here. And ball stolen by Marion. Here comes Alaska. First opportunity up the floor. A runner off the backboard and in. And Alaska on the board. Lowest scoring offense in the league by a wide margin. 79.7 points per game. Here's Johnson putting up a three. And he'll miss, and we'll have an over-the-back foul. That'll be on Marion. So he's a busy guy on both sides of the floor. And Kansas City will inbound on the sideline. Here's Ellis going to work. Taking on Mario Chalmers. Clock running down. Johnson gets open for another three and knocks it down. And the Monks finally on the board. 1 minute into the game. Chalmers gets the pick. Doesn't work. Works around to Henderson. Johnson, long two in the corner. So Joe Johnson going to work here on offense, putting up all the shots. As he scored all 5 of his team's points so far. Step back, fade away for Carlos Boozer, and he'll get that one in. Five to 4. Just over 2 minutes have passed here. An early going from Kansas City. Ellis tries to drive inside, and Chalmers called for the foul there. Dalembert gets the inbound. Tyreke Evans, he's open for 3. Can't convert. Rebound. Johnson down low. Goes up and can't get the 2 points. He'll go to the line. Joe Johnson out of Arkansas averaging 19.3 points per through the first 3 games of this season. Shooting 44% from 3. And he's perfect from the line, but that's only because he took 2 and made 2 in the last game, and now he's made this one. And he'll make that one as well. So he's 4-4 from the line on the year. And he's just been a big offensive engine for Kansas City, as they've tried to stay ahead in the Eastern Conference. Currently second, and if they win this game, they'll be tied for first, but Lehigh Valley will hold the tiebreaker after Kansas City was shellacked here at the Sprint Center by Lehigh Valley in week 1. Monta Ellis getting the reverse layup. as Kansas City tries to get out to an early lead, up by 5. Henderson goes up for it and knocks it down. So both teams shooting 3 of 5 from the field. Alaska able to score before it got too far out of hand. 3-point game here from Kansas City. Johnson drives and kicks it out. He'll get it back in the corner. Tries to get inside to Garnett. That's deflected. It eventually finds its way to Garnett. And Marion called for goaltending. Henderson pulls up. Misses off the back rim. Rebound Ellis. Kansas City on the run. Here's Evans. Even though Alaska has numbers. And they will slow it down by kicking it out to Ellis for 3. He misses. Evans is down low. Gets it over Dalembert. The layup no good inside. Chalmers trying to attack. Kicks it over. Henderson for 3. That's in and out. Rebound by Boozer. That'll go up and no good. So Garnett called for his first. And Boozer at the line. Averaging 11.3 points a game and 9 rebounds on a team that averages only about 80 points a game, if you round up. It has been a rough season from the field for Carlos Boozer. 35% from the field in 3 games, playing starters minutes. Free throws good, makes it a 4-point game. 7:36 left here in the first quarter. Kansas City with some ball movement. Here's Johnson. And he'll knock it down from the charity stripe. 9 points already for Joe Johnson. Looks like he could very well have one of those games. Ball to Boozer. Works it back out Henderson. And Marion able to get the shot at the shot clock buzzer. (13-9). A little over 6 minutes here. Ellis kicks it out. Open Johnson. And he's able to knock it down. That's a long 2. So a 6-point game. Kansas City's been up comfortably for much of the quarter. Henderson finds his way inside. Goes up against Garnett. And can't get it. He'll go back up. And score. And 1. Gerald Henderson going to the line. He has an interesting stat line so far this season. He scored 17 points and has grabbed 2 rebounds in all 3 games. Just has never failed. Just always good for 17 and 2. We'll see if he'll get more or less here in this matchup against the Monks. Michael Beasley coming into the game, among others. Here's Ellis. As he goes in, Chalmers, or Henderson's call for the foul. Thought it was going to be Chalmers. So with 5:50 left, Kansas City has been up comfortably, and they're ahead by 3 now, 15-12. Kansas City set to inbound, under 6 minutes left. Beasley goes in instantly and draws the foul right away. So before the timeout, Henderson was called for the reach-in, and right out of the timeout, he's called for the reach-in. That's his second. And Michael Beasley heading to the line for Kansas City. First shot's good. Beasley's been great off the bench for Kansas City. Had 9 points in the first game, 10 in the second, 11 in last week's game. So we'll see if we see a pattern. Maybe he can get to 12 or possibly more. He knocks down both free throws, 17-12, and Odom tries to pass that ahead to Henderson. And that'll be a turnover there. So Kansas City gets it back. Joe Johnson open again for 3. And it has been surprising just how much Joe Johnson has found himself open around the perimeter, even if he's taken long 2-pointers. Here's Harrelson. Finds Chalmers cutting, but he's stopped by Monta. Going to try to go in anyway. Now he's stuck on the low block. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Rebound Harrelson. He'll go up himself. Can't get that one. So an 8-point game here. Ball kicked over. Beasley putting it up. Oh, air ball. And there was no one there to blame that on. It was just the wind. Caught a gust. Alaska running a set. We'll see who it's for. If anybody, seems like it fell apart there. Here's Chalmers double teamed. He'll force it up anyway and miss. Rebound by Evans. Kansas City pushing. Ooh, nice clean jumper by Tyreke Evans. 10-point game. Under 4 minutes here in the first. Ball underneath. Marion over the backboard and in. That was just an interesting situation. Marion had to cut under the basket. He got the ball. He knew he had to shoot it. Probably didn't realize quite where he was. And then he saw where he was and he pushed up the energy with his dog paddle shot. Got it over the rim and in. Quite impressive. He'll take a breather for his troubles. Thabo Sefolosha will come in for him. As James Young just had his rookie year with the Celtics out of Kentucky. Will enter the game himself. Both teams' second units out on the floor. Here's Trey Burke for Kansas City. And Burke gets past Seth Curry and floats it up and misses. Here's Seth Curry now. Pushes it ahead to Sefolosha. And back to Curry. Head coach Jay Nicholson for Alaska saying he was going to get some of his bench players more minutes to mitigate some of the stagnancy that he finds on offense. Here's Sefolosha missing the 3. Rebound by Jeremy Tyler. Burke. No good. So Burke 0 for 2 early on here. Here comes Alaska up the floor. Young missing. So Comedy Bears here late in the second quarter. And a block by Odom. Rush will get it back. Works it outside. Burke for 3. And there's the shot. Unfortunately for Alaska, it's against them. Three-pointer in their face. They're down 11 with 2:17 left in the first. Here's James Young. Underneath to Harrelson, and he can't knock it down. Here's Brandon Rush, who is now the backup point guard, replacing fellow Kansas City native Alec Burks, but he can't convert. Here's Young. Curry trying to get past Burke, kicks it out. Young for 3. And he's excited about that. He hasn't had a lot of scoring opportunities so far this season. So he'll get one there. And he brings Alaska to back within 8. 1:20 left in the first. Ball to Rush. And Burke going to put it up. Volleyball taps until Kansas City gets a second chance. Here's a minute left. Beasley tries to get it underneath, almost loses it. Up top, Rush drains it. 53 seconds left here in the opening quarter. The pace has been great, but the shots haven't been falling. And yet the Monks still find themselves up by 10. Here's Curry, open lane, goes inside, and swishes in. Bounce pass underneath. Eli loses it. And it ends up back in the Monks' hands. At least for them, the shot didn't go in by Rush. But they had a hand on the ball and then couldn't retain possession. So even with all the hustle, they almost gave up 2 points anyways. Instead, they gained 2. Curry knocking down the long jumper with 16 seconds left in the first. Ball works around the horn. Beasley, not airballing that one. Three-pointer goes down. 9-point lead with a couple of seconds left here. And that's how we'll close out the quarter. So the pace picked up, but regardless of the pace, the story has been the same in the first. Kansas City with control of this game, up by 9, heading into the second quarter. .30-21 here from Kansas City. Hope you're enjoying this game. If you are, be sure to give this video a like. And also, if you want more CBL action, be sure to subscribe to the Coliseum Sports Network. Fresh 12 on the clock. Second unit's still in the game for both teams. Chris Johnson comes in to start off the second quarter in place of James Young. And he'll go up and draw the foul. Jay Nicholson, the head coach of the Glacier Bears, is in a very interesting position at figuring out his small forward situation. Of course, he has Shawn Marion starting. Shawn Marion, a pretty good defender. He's able to knock down shots when needed, but he just doesn't generate that kind of offense. While there's James Young and Chris Johnson, who could generate more raw points, but may be deficient in other areas. So it's been a hard decision for Jay Nicholson to make, but he said that it's one that he's monitoring as the season progresses. 7-point game off of the free throws. Chris Johnson making both. 30 points in the first quarter for Kansas City. See if they can match that scoring output. Beasley finds his way inside, taking on 3 Glacier Bears, and a foul call. Take your pick. It's Cephalosha called for his first. Beasley, such a dynamic player for Kansas City off the bench. It's always a good compromise to have both a guy with, but when you start a new league, always good to have a guy who has local ties that the crowd can reach to. Michael Beasley playing his college ball at Kansas State, not too far down the highway in Manhattan, Kansas. But also that fits into your plans as well as Michael Beasley does, where he's able to generate points off the bench. He's able to generate points at the line, 32-23, with 11:23 left in the second quarter. Cross-court pass, Johnson knocks down the long jumper. And kind of to extend off of that conversation I was having about the small forward situation for Alaska, every game is a bit of an audition that convinces Nicholson how many more minutes he should give each player. And Johnson proven himself already. Beasley proven himself on the court as he now has 9 points. So Beasley's season high is 11. He's a basket away from getting that at the start of the second quarter. Curry going to have to put this one up. And it falls flat. Here's Rush driving, kicks it over. Beasley knocks it down over Odom. And there it is, tying his season high 11 points. Curry works around. Chris Johnson knocking down the tray. So the young man out of Dayton, pulling no punches, trying to keep his team in it. They're down by 8. Ball to Burke. Johnson shoots behind the Odom screen. Gobert back in the game, gets the board. Johnson again. Chris Johnson has been on fire. He hasn't been on the floor long, and he already has 10 points. Tries to bounce pass underneath to Dalembert. He loses it going up. Garnett doesn't, but he draws the foul, and that'll be on Odom. Kevin Garnett closing out an illustrious career. Maybe has another year or 2 in him. Maybe 3. Who knows? Playing with the Timberwolves, the team he started with. And he's been a very helpful part for this Kansas City Monks team. Hasn't been needed for his scoring. He's only averaged 4.3 points a game. It's more so for his rebounding, and he's gotten bigger totals with each passing game. Had 8 boards in the first game, 9 in the second, had 14 last week. And he'll knock down both free throws. 38-31. Johnson up top, no good. Rush gets it over to Johnson. Double teamed. Burke isn't. You double team somebody, there's always a man open, and Burke couldn't capitalize on that. 7:54 left in the second. Cephalosha for three. Corralled by Rush. Rush can't get the shot. Here's Johnson bringing it up the floor. And Curry, as he was trying to operate with the ball, is fouled by Rush. And Johnson knocks down another one. He has 13. That's his season high. Season high was 11, which he picked up both in week 2 and 3. Garnett, baseline jumper is good. Missed by Curry. Burke in the corner. Would have been a 2 if it was good. Dalembert skies up, puts it back up and in. Boozer on the baseline. Posting up Garnett from way out there. Fade away jumper, no good. And Gobert, or Cephalosha rather, gets the rebound, goes back up, and lays it in. Burke crossing the timeline. Kansas City calling timeout. Again, they're still comfortably hanging on to this lead. They've led the entire game with 5:46 left in the second. More CBL action coming your way tomorrow. Last game of the week, Seattle at Omaha. You have a high-scoring offense in Omaha, and you have a team that lives by the 3 in Seattle. That should be an interesting one from the CenturyLink Center. That'll be tomorrow on the Coliseum Sports Network. Trouble with the inbound. Dalembert turns it over. Here's Boozer in the game. Fadeaway jumper, sinks it in. Pass intended for Johnson, and that'll go over his head. So it's been a rough game, rough first half here for Trey Burke. We'll see if he can heat up in the second, but for now, just going to have to live through it. Play on. Here's Curry for 3. He can't knock it down. Here's Dalembert with the rebound. Three-pointer by Trey Burke. Curry fighting his way in. Hands it off Boozer. Baseline jumper is good. Evans for three. Curry finding his way inside. Able to answer back a 3 with a 2. But still able to keep it close here. Rebound Boozer. And that pass too high for Johnson. So we're seeing some careless turnovers here over a small stretch of the second quarter. Three and a half left here in the first half. Kansas City trying to maintain their lead heading into the break. Ellis wanted the ball, but instead, Evans will call a set to get the ball to Ellis. And he's able to finish with a reverse lay-in. Very nice. So Kansas City still pushing along. 50 points with 3 minutes left. Chalmers underneath. Johnson goes up, draws the foul. First free throw, good for Chris Johnson. And the second one just as good. So Chris Johnson running up and down the court here with his season high. Evans in the corner on the baseline, knocks it down. Boozer fights past Eli, and he's able to get it up and in. 4 of 6 from the field so far, so he's doing better in terms of shooting percentage. Here's Tyler, cross-court pass Johnson. Ellis can't knock it down from the short corner. And Boozer will be called for the moving screen. That's his second. Evans long two. Can't convert that. Here's Chalmers up the floor. Fade away by Johnson. 54-46, Kansas City. They've just been cruising with this lead into the half break. Boozer fadeaway jumper, and Eli ferociously pulls down that board. He's proud of that defensive possession. And then he went up there and got what he felt was his. Here's Evans. That's a long two, I believe. That's a moot point. Tyler gets it back up, goes up, draws a foul. 30 seconds left here in the first quarter. Jeremy Tyler at the line. San Diego native. Went pro straight out of high school, played in Japan there for a while, came over to America for about a year. So definitely a man that is well-traveled early on in his career. This is the first shot. Three points, 3 rebounds per game so far this season. In 13 minutes per. Tyler does have a very good presence out there in the post. Here's Henderson pulling up, and he's able to knock down the shot. Final seconds closing down here in the second quarter. Kansas City looking to maintain their lead. They've done very well for themselves offensively, and the party continues. There's Tyreke Evans yet again for 3, and now he has 10. So here's Curry. Underneath to Harrelson. He'll lay it in with a second left. And there you have it for the first half. It's been all Kansas City. And they're up by 7 heading into the break. $57-50 heading into the third quarter here. This could set up to be a very interesting game when you look at the stats for Alaska. Lowest scoring offense, and yet they're on pace to score 100 for the first time this season. And they also allow the fewest points per game at 84.7. And even though they don't score a lot, they scored in the 70s twice. They've also kept the other team from scoring, but Kansas City has not had a problem with that. Chalmers hanging onto the ball against Ellis. Good contest by Monta, and Kansas City comes up with possession. 11.5 left in the third. Ball out to Ellis. Denied by Boozer. Here's Gerald Henderson, Mr. 17-2. We haven't seen a lot of him in the first half, but he's not afraid to heat up. Marion on the perimeter to Chalmers, way outside. He went too far out. He was trying to reset his dribble and ended up having to launch up a shot. Just a horrible decision there by Mario Chalmers. Here's Dalembert on the elbow, trying to show a little range there. Couldn't work out that time. Chalmers going in. Boozer behind him. Try again anyway. Pulls up, knocks it down. Boozer called for the foul, his third. Evans kicks it out. Ellis wide open. Knocks down the long two. Pass underneath intended for Gobert. So Alaska turns it over. Johnson running the offense. Hop, step, and can't convert. Even with that miss, Joe Johnson's had a really good game here. Chalmers can't knock down the long shot. Here comes Kansas City on the run. Ahead to Johnson. He's going in. Hands it off. Evans underneath. So the three big offensive engines on this team all connecting and leading to an opportunity at the free throw line for Tyreke Evans. First shot goes in. Head coach for Kansas City, Bernard Slaughter, just absolutely impressed with the versatility that Tyreke Evans shows, and between being able to play the point, playing the shooting guard where he starts here in KC, and playing the small forward position, and then Bernard Slaughter just knowing that Tyreke Evans, he can score. He can get out there and score, so he's very excited to see what Evans could offer him in Kansas City, and he's been offering him a lot. There he is, stealing the ball, getting out on the fast break and laying it in. 14 points for Tyreke Evans. It's been another good game for him, and Alaska's going to call timeout. Down by 11, 63-52 with 8:39 left in the third. Here's Marion, gets the inbound. 8.5 left in the third. Alaska's only scored 2 points so far. Boozer underneath, draws the foul. Can't get the shot in. And that's Garnett's third. First one goes down for Boozer. For all his struggles statistically this season, he's actually done pretty well for himself at the line. 4 of 6 in week 2. 2 of 2 last week. So it seems like the only two departments that Boozer has been good in is name recognition, since he represents the state of Alaska, and free throw shooting. Here's Ellis working his way inside, kicks it out to Evans. Back down to Dalembert over Gobert. And he'll lay it up and in. Back to an 11-point game. Ball underneath, tipped away, stolen by Dalembert. Pass ahead to Ellis. Bounce pass, tried to get it to Johnson. Just a little too fast there. And that ends up turning the ball over. That looked like that finish was going to be a lot of fun there for Joe Johnson. But it just wasn't meant to be. 65-54 with 7:47 left in the third quarter. Here's Chalmers bringing it up the floor. Harrelson gets it over to Henderson. Underneath Johnson. Loses the ball. Harrelson ends up with it. And a blocking foul called on Melvin Ely. That wasn't a pass. That was a lost ball that Harrelson was able to collect in time. 6'10" center out of Kentucky is Josh Harrelson. Finds himself bouncing around the league at times. He went 2 weeks without scoring any points, but then in the process collected 14 rebounds. That was the first 2 weeks of the season. Last week was able to pick up 4 points and 8 rebounds. But that's what Jay Nicholson brought him in for the boards. Can't convert at the free throw line. Pass tipped by Henderson and out of bounds. So the Monks will retain possession. Marion will come back into the game for Boozer. Eli trying to inbound. And he'll just give it to the closest guy. Sometimes that's always the simplest answer. Evans puts up Johnson puts up the long shot. Couldn't get it the first time. Now he'll get the ball back. Good rebound by Eli. Here's Evans. And Ellis stripped by Chalmers. Glacier Bears fast break where they're trudging down the floor and the defense picks up numbers, but they were trying to make a run for it at least. Henderson missing in the corner. Harrelson pulls down the board, kicks it back out Chalmers. James Young has returned into the game. He's been in for about a minute. Here's Chalmers on the baseline. Tried to get it underneath to Harrelson and stolen. Ellis up top. Monks running the horns. Just going to give it to Jeremy Tyler. Stolen by Chalmers. All that indecisiveness. Young tried to finish, but had to change his shot going up as Tyler was there to disrupt. But James Young still going to get to the line. He's going to try to close the gap here for his team. Down by 11 with 6:01 left. James Young has played in 2 games with a healthy scratch in week 2. Knocks down the first shot. He's played a total of 8 minutes. He's gone 0 for 2 from the field. Both his shots coming in week 1. One of them was a 3. He had a rebound last week, had an assist in week 1. So some paltry stats, but there seems like there may be an opportunity for him to do a little more for his team moving forward. We passed the halfway mark here in the third quarter. Evans inside. Tyler goes up, and he'll draw the foul. So Marion called for that one. And Jeremy Tyler is back at the line. Tyler can't convert the second free throw. Alaska out ahead on offense. Shot clock running down. This looks like a Curry shot over Johnson. He got it. First 3-point field goal of the game from Seth Curry. And it goes down over the outstretched arms of ISO Joe Johnson. Interesting there, watching that play unfold. Ellis popped out originally off the rotation, didn't get the ball. Johnson then made his cut, didn't get the ball either, until Tyreke Evans handed off to him. Here's Curry, three-pointer, knocks that one down as well. So the Glacier Bears getting something going. They're within 3 here against Kansas City. Bernard Slaughter, cognizant of the issue, he'll call timeout with 4:31 left in the third quarter. Kansas City ahead 65-62. Looking a week ahead here, not too far, can't predict the future. Alaska will be hosting Lehigh Valley next week. That'll be on Friday. Kansas City will be on the road in the Emerald City. That game will be played on Saturday. You can catch both of those games here on the Coliseum Sports Network. Here's Beasley back in the game. He knocks down the hook shot, but he really did well back in the second quarter. That gave the Monks a little more ground in their lead against Alaska. Here's Chalmers gliding in and knocking down a layup. Here's Ellis. And that shot goes up and in. Both teams trading baskets now out of the timeout. 3.5 left in the third. Marion up top. Looks like this is going to be all him. Can't knock it down. Alaska trying to bring the game back down to their tempo. They've been running and gunning with Kansas City for much of the game. And Ellis tries to kick it out to Evans, and that'll sail out of bounds. And the block by Dalembert. Ball ahead to Ellis, and then they return the favor, does Alaska. Lamar Odom slapping it away. Pass intended for Ellis. That'll go out of bounds. Five-point game. Alaska trying to get back into it. They've slowed down the game. Henderson trying to go to work underneath, loses the ball, and that'll go out of bounds. That will be a turnover on Alaska with 2:02 left in the third quarter. Garnett up top, reverses it around to Evans. Turning the corner, kicks it out. Ellis for three. No good, and corralled by Gobert. And Odom just goes coast to coast and lays it in. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Odom called for the ball from Rudy Gobert, and then he just kept going. He did not stop until he saw the rim. Another turnover there by Kansas City. So Alaska getting some opportunities to get back into this game. And once again, it's Boozer. And it's not Boozer. Boozer got ran over by Ellis. So they're going to call Ellis for running over Boozer. 69-66. And Evans getting in and drawing the foul. So that's his first. Boozer shooting free throws at the line. Boozer able to get the first. And able to knock down the second. And that'll put Alaska about as close as they have been all game. 69-68. Johnson gets past Odom. He'll put up the mid-ranger and miss. And here's Alaska's chance to take the lead. Ellis called for the foul. Alaska in the bonus. So Gerald Henderson going to the line. He can give Alaska the lead by making 2 free throws. And the Glacier Bears have their first lead. Since it was 2-0 back in the first quarter. Up, short-lived, as there's Tyreke Evans knocking down the 3 to make it 72-70. We'll see if Alaska can at least tie it back up. Chalmers can't get the 3. And a loose ball foul. And that's called on Boozer. That's his 4th. Closing seconds of the third quarter. The shot clock is off. Ellis finds his way inside, and he'll go up with a standing dunk. Henderson called for his 4th. So the key offensive players for Alaska and Carlos Boozer and Gerald Henderson both in foul trouble with 4 each. Now we'll see if that spells any trouble in the fourth quarter, but for now, Monta Ellis with the chance to put his team up by 5. So they've reeled off 6 unanswered here. And that'll do it for the third quarter. Alaska, they controlled the tempo. They had the lead for all of several seconds, and after 3, Kansas City still comes up with it, up by 5. Welcome back to the Sprint Center. Third game of Week 4. First interconference games of the season. And they have all been pretty good, including this one here with the Monks leading the Glacier Bears. Evans denied on the way up. And that last deflected off Tabo. So Kansas City set to inbound. Boozer going to take a breather here. Has 4 fouls. And Alaska will get the ball back off of the inbounding turnover. Here's Chalmers up the floor for Alaska. Glacier Bears going to see if they can claw their way back into it. They had that lead. They've only had 2 leads in this game, and they won't get it there. 4th turnover there by Mario Chalmers. But what I was going to say that towards the end of the third quarter, they had a lead for several seconds before Tyreke Evans erased it with a 3-pointer, which is how the Monks got their current lead. And then before that, it was 2-0 when Alaska scored first. Here's Cephalosha. Left wing 3 is good. It's a 2, however. Here's Burke. He'll put up a long 2 of his own and won't be successful. Here's Alaska on the run. Kansas City already having numbers on the fast break, so they'll put a kibosh on that. Now pops Henderson, though he has trouble corralling the ball. Kicks it over. Cephalosha, another 3 could tie it. No good. Rebound by Dalembert. Burke finds his way inside. Floater is good. Eight points for Trey Burke, but he's gotten it by ugly means. 3 of 12 from the field today. Henderson has a open entryway inside, and Samuel Dalembert couldn't leave well enough alone. He draws the foul on the block attempt. Anderson knocks down the second, back to a 3-point game. Alaska trying to hang in here in the final quarter. And stolen by Henderson. Alaska on the run. Pass ahead to Cephalosha, and there's a fast break for him. So Alaska back within 1. It's going to be stout defense and deliberate offense that could help Alaska get back into this game and eventually take the lead. Clock running down here for Kansas City. And Burke's going to take it. There's a missed rebound by Boozer. Chalmers trying to fight his way inside. Kicks it out, Henderson. Boozer with the fadeaway hook. Can't capitalize. 10th rebound by Dalembert. He's really been getting out there today. Here's Burt going up past Chalmers. Can't get the shot. He'll have to earn it at the line. Trey Burke out of Michigan. Has 7 points in week 1, had 8 points last week. But in week 2, he broke out as he knocks down the first shot. 21 points. Going 8 of 17 up from the field. In that week 2 win over Omaha. It's a spectacular performance from him, so we know that he has flashes. We just haven't seen them today. Second shot goes in. That'll put Kansas City back up by 3. Monk's walking a tightrope here with this lead that they have. Ball underneath. Boozer posting up. The hook shot. He'll get it back. He'll go up again. Blocked by Beasley. Evans gets it underneath to Trey Burke and lays it up and in. Kansas City back up by 5. And for a while now, that's essentially been the high water mark of 5-point margin. Alaska is threatened at times. But Kansas City, when they get up to 5, it gets relatively comfortable. Ball down low to Gobert. Center on center. And the ball stripped away. Here comes Kansas City out on the run. Evans ahead. Burke all by himself under the rim. Blows it. Chalmers making a rush for it. He's closed out in the post. Gets it back up top. Works around to Gobert. He pump fakes, but we know that he's probably not going to shoot it. Is he? He might just. The time's running down. He's going to go for it. Big man for 3, and that's an air ball. Into the hands of Dalembert before the buzzer went off. Here's a Euro step layup by Johnson, and he'll draw the foul there. And that'll be on Gobert. So on one end, he shoots an ill-advised 3, and then on the other end, he picks up a foul. And even though it's his first, the 2 free throws could widen the margin that Alaska has to fight back from moving forward. So a rough possession there for Rudy Gobert with 7.5 left in the fourth. Lucks out on the first shot. Johnson misses. Kansas City's scoring has been all over the map. They started off week 1 scoring 77 in a loss here in Kansas City. Then in week 2, they exploded for 119 and were able to get the win there. And then last week, it was a little more even keel. They were able to score 98 points. So it's hard to get a read on how much this team is going to score on a given night. You just have to appreciate the type of talent that they have and the ability to score that a number of these players possess, namely the guards and forwards. 3-pointer made by Cephalosha cuts the deficit in half. So Tabo with 9 off the bench. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And that one over Evans' head and out of bounds. Chalmers underneath. Boozer goes up and lays it in. And Alaska back within 1. We've seen this lead rubber band back and forth anywhere between 1 and 7. And Alaska almost had the opportunity on that one to get ahead on the floor. And here's their chance to take the lead again for the first time since the end of the third. Ball down low, Boozer. Is it on the Alaska native? Reverse layup is no good, but he'll go to the line where he has done much better as Dalembert's called for the second foul, for his second foul. So here's Boozer at the line. And the first shot doesn't go. That would have tied it up. And then the second one would have helped to give Alaska the lead. But now it's up to Boozer. Just going to have to tie things up here. 15 points in this game. Now 16. And that does tie his season high that he got back in week 2. 82 all here from the Sprint Center. Pass underneath to Joe Johnson. And Kansas City gets the lead right back. Marion back up top, Chalmers. Henderson forces it up over 3 Monks. Ties the game back at 84. Johnson for 3. Yes. Here's Marion. Down low, Boozer, no good. Johnson knocking down another one. Joe Johnson trying to pull away here. Alaska absolutely threatening. But now it's time for someone to step up on either side. Marion trying to go in. Can't finish off the attack. And here's Kansas City. Behind the back pass, Dalembert can't finish, but Garnett there for the putback. Great look from Johnson. Dalembert knew what time it was, tried to go up for it. And then when he couldn't, his teammate was there to finish the job. And just like that, it's tied at 84. And then Kansas City jumps out to a 7-0 run. And now they're up 91-84 with 4:07 left in the fourth. Gobert inbounds to Chalmers. Four minutes left here in regulation. Alaska just had it tied up, and all of a sudden, it's back up to a 7-point deficit. Henderson able to close the gap. So Henderson, who's had 17 points and 2 rebounds in every game, he has 16 points and 2 assists so far in this one. 1 point away from being reliable. Evans underneath. And rebound by Henderson. Thing about this game, however, is that Alaska might need a little more than 17 and 2 down the stretch. Boozer posting up. Loses the ball, stolen by Johnson, ahead to Ellis. Here's Evans. He'll go up for it. Lays it up and in. Works it over. Open Henderson. Able to knock down the jumper. So he has 18. That's his season high. Coming down the stretch here in Kansas City. Evans going in. That one had to bounce around before finding the bottom of the net. 95-89, 2:14 left in the fourth. Henderson trying to go baseline, cut off by Evans, had to force it up and couldn't convert. Time running out here for Alaska. Kansas City just broke out as soon as they saw Alaska tied this game up. Kansas City won a share of first place in the Eastern Conference. Ball in the corner. Henderson tries to go baseline again. Cut off by Johnson. Back out to Marion. And a reach-in foul by Garnett. And that's his fourth. So timeout call. 1:20 left here in the fourth quarter. Kansas City leading 95-89. And they might just be able to hold on for the win. What a game this has been here from the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Game was tied at 84 several minutes ago. And then once the Monks saw that Alaska was on the verge of taking the lead for only the third time today, all of a sudden they broke out for 7 unanswered. And now they've hung on to this lead as both teams have traded baskets. Boozer knocking one down within 4. And you can see the field goal percentages by half. These teams have been pretty even from the field, and it's been quite impressive. But now the Monks and Bernard Slaughter calling timeout. They're going to see what they can do to hold off Alaska once and for all. I think to get the dagger at this juncture, this early on in the 2-minute drill, you'd probably need a 3. But we'll see if Kansas City will try to get a 2 and then make a stop. Oh, that won't help. Stolen by Henderson on the run. Bounce pass intended for Chalmers. Loses it in the passing lane. Here's Ellis. Fast break of his own. And he throws it down with 2 hands. Six-point game. And the tables turned quickly on what looked like an easy Alaska fast break. Tyreke Evans draws the foul. Or Henderson draws the foul, and it's on Tyreke Evans. So Henderson at the line, opportunity to close the gap, and he can't do it. But he is able to get the second one, so it's a 5-point game. And a steal by Henderson. He goes in for the jam. It's a 3-point game. It's been the Gerald Henderson show late here for Alaska. He's pretty much been the hope for the Glacier Bears to get back in this game late, down by 3. Here's Ellis. He'll go up for it in the post. No good. Gobert with the rebound. Final seconds here. Under 20 seconds, so this is probably going to be it. If the Glacier Bears can't score on this possession, it's a wrap. Chalmers puts it in his hands. The Anchorage native cannot do it for his home state team. Dalembert with the rebound. Gobert with the intentional foul. 5.6 on the clock. And we'll have a timeout on the floor. So Mario Chalmers decided to take it into his own hands, which you want from a point guard, from a leader. There's no reason to think that Chalmers wouldn't be able to deliver. He's averaged second most points on this team, but Gerald Henderson was really getting going there down the stretch. And it looks like there might be a break there. Dalembert tried to inbound it, and I think it ended up deflecting back onto him after Gobert got a piece of it on the inbound. So maybe Alaska might have a chance here with 5.5 left on the clock. And we'll see if Chalmers will try to take it on his own again, or if he'll find Gerald Henderson. Gerald Henderson breaking out of his 17-2 shell that he scored 17 points and grabbed 2 rebounds in every game this season without fail. And we'll see what unfolds here. This should be an interesting 5 seconds. Cross-court pass. Henderson for 3. Oh, he can't get it, but the putback slam by Marion. That'll put Alaska up by 1. Or Alaska down by 1. And then there's the turnover. Oh my, Kansas City has had trouble with the inbounds. And they could have potentially given this game away. Here's Gobert. They only need 2 points here. That one does deflect off of Evans. I thought that was out on Alaska. I was going to be beside myself. 3 seconds. 1 point game. Henderson's trying to get open. Chalmers is trying to get open. Underneath Marion at the buzzer. No! Oh my! The bunny missed by Shawn Marion. And Kansas City escapes with a 97-96 win. Oh man, what a finish. We're glad that you could catch it here on the Coliseum Sports Network. It's been a good one, folks, and we hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.